The 2025 college football season is just around the corner, and these are my best and worst case scenarios for the Kentucky Wildcats this season. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, where we get your podcasts. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. And as always, we're powered by our friends over at FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to get $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get $250 in bonus bets today. Mark Stoops and the Kentucky Wildcats look to bounce back in 2025 after last season. They missed a bowl game for the first time in quite some time. And today specifically, we look at my best case and worst case scenarios for Kentucky football heading into the 2025 season. And guys, of course, as always, these are not predictions. This is simply my ceiling and floor for the Cats entering kickoff. And guys, let's first start with the schedule, because obviously when you talk best case, worst case, the schedule goes a long way in determining what your ceiling and floor are. Obviously, there is no such thing as an easy SEC schedule, but not all schedules in this conference are created equally. So the Cats open up on Saturday, August the 30th, a tricky non-conference game. And I know Kentucky fans hate to hear that, but I think the spread even indicates it, only about a 10 or 10.5 point spread, depending on where you look. They get the Toledo Rockets. Now, why is this game kind of tricky? You look at what Toledo did last year, guys. They went into Mississippi State and beat the Bulldogs. Now, granted, I know that's Mississippi State. It's two totally different seasons, different coaches, different personnel. I totally get that, but just saying, not a walk in the park in week one. You better show up, buckle your trench strap, and play well. So you open in non-conference play against Toledo. Then you host Ole Miss in week two. That's how you open conference play. Obviously, Kentucky will try to do what they did last season yet again and pull the big upset over the Rebels. Then you play Eastern Michigan at home. Then coming off a bye week, you go to South Carolina. Obviously, Big Blue Nation looking for some revenge after that embarrassing showing against the Gamecocks last season. You then travel to Georgia. You get Texas at home, Tennessee at home. You're then at Auburn. You get Florida at home. Then you jump back out of conference and take on Tennessee Tech before finally you face the Vanderbilt Commodores in Nashville, and then you go to Louisville to close out your 2025 season. This is a pretty difficult schedule, guys. This is a pretty difficult SEC schedule, from opening up with Ole Miss, who, again, I think is a team that you could argue is going to be in the college football playoff race. South Carolina will be in that race. Georgia and Texas certainly are favorites to make the college football playoff. We don't know what Tennessee's going to be. Granted, you do get them at home, but you always struggle against Tennessee. That's the scary thing. At Auburn, depending on what they are, we'll find out what that game looks like. That could be really tough going to Jordan-Hare. I mean, the last time you had Florida on your home field, you beat them, but that one's going to be difficult. That's a college football playoff hopeful. At Vandy with Diego Pavia is really tricky. And then, of course, like I mentioned, the rivalry game at Louisville. So once again, this is a schedule. Is it the most difficult schedule in the SEC? I don't know that I would say that. I don't know that that's fair to say, but it is a tough schedule, no doubt. So, guys, as we turn our attention to best case and worst case for the Kentucky Wildcats. Best case, I've got 7-5. And here's the thing, guys, with Kentucky, and I'll just say this leading off. And you guys, please, I would love to have Kentucky fans flood the comments and tell me why I'm wrong. Because not only, guys, do I see it on social media, we feel it in our own content when it comes to talking about Kentucky football. From my vantage point, there is not a program in the SEC with less juice than the Kentucky Wildcats. There's just not a whole lot of reason for hope, for optimism, for excitement, to a point where I think most Kentucky fans right now, even with college football just about a month or so away, they'd probably rather carry on a college basketball conversation and talk about Mark Pope's team this upcoming season. Last year felt so pivotal in the Mark Stoops era there in Lexington in regards to, like, what is the trajectory? What's the overall trajectory of this program? And after an abysmal 2024 campaign, the program all but feels dead. This is a massive year for Kentucky, I think, from the standpoint, do you have any life left? Do you have any juice left? Or is this program on its path reverting back to what it was pre-Mark Stoops? Let's jump into best case, worst case. Guys, best case, I've got 7-5. Do I think it's doable? Yes, I do. Right? As difficult as that schedule is. I mean, guys, even Kentucky last year beat Ole Miss. Right? Beat Ole Miss. You do play Vandy. You do play Louisville. You almost upset Georgia last year. Right? It starts at the quarterback position for Kentucky. Zach Calzada, it's the third straight quarterback you've gone with out of the portal. He's got a hit for you. I think a lot of SEC fans that watched him at Texas A&M are very skeptical, but maybe he has grown since then. Obviously, he's a veteran player. The guy's like 25 years old. You need Zach Calzada to pop. You need the big blue wall to return, both offensively and defensively. When Kentucky football has been at their best under Mark Stoops, you have been able to get a push on both lines of scrimmage. What have you not been able to do the last couple seasons? You've gotten bullied up front, flat out, especially last year. The tone was set early in the season against South Carolina when they pushed you all over the field, right? Can you return to the big blue wall? And maybe can it spring a couple upsets for you? Maybe you get Tennessee at home this year, right? Maybe you go into Nashville and beat Vandy. You beat Louisville in the rivalry game. Maybe you up into South Carolina. Maybe you go on the road to a Georgia or Texas and do the unthinkable. Maybe you beat Auburn. Who knows what Auburn's going to be, right? And then I think, obviously, you sweep the non-conference. That's the thing, guys. If you beat Louisville, you've got a really good shot of sweeping the non-con because your other non-cons are Toledo, Eastern Michigan, and Tennessee Tech. So if you can go 4-0 in non-conference, I mean, I think Kentucky will be capable of going 3-5 in SEC play. Like I mentioned, between Vandy, Louisville, South Carolina, maybe Ole Miss again, Auburn, Tennessee, even a Florida at home where they've had success against the Gators somehow, some way. I think 7-5 is doable. Anything beyond that with the personnel you have, I don't think is realistic. Worst case scenario for Kentucky, I've got it 3-9. And guys, that may sound aggressive to some, but I do believe this very well could be the worst team in the SEC this season, worse than Mississippi State. And I put 3-9. Are you going to lose to both Toledo and Louisville? I don't think so. But I'll tell you this, Kentucky is very much so squarely on upset alert in week 1. I really believe that. Do not – all right, if you're Big Blue Nation, you mess around, you'll get your ass beat by Toledo. Toledo whooped Mississippi State's ass last year. Like, they will not come in intimidated. They will not come in intimidated by Kentucky. Do I think you're going to lose both of the bookends, Toledo and Louisville? I don't think so. But, guys, there is very well a path to where Kentucky goes defeated in SEC play. Do I think it's likely? I don't think it's likely they go defeated, but I think there is a path. Like, it is a very realistic outcome that you finish this season with the same record you had as last year. I think that's very, very much in play, right? And it all stemmed from, again, Calzada not being that guy. You don't have any dynamic playmakers on the outside because you got gutted by the portal. You can't get much of anything going in the run game or just offensively in general, right? You weren't good offensively last year. It's just more of the same under Bush Hampton. And then defensively, you simply just can't recover from the losses that you suffered from last year's defense. And all of the reasons of feeling like there are no reasons for optimism or excitement, they all kind of play out and come true. So, worst case for me, again, the schedule bites you. It's one of the toughest ones in the SEC, I think. It punishes you, and you finish at 3-9. So, I got best case 7-5, worst case 3-9 for the Cats. Guys, would love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What's your best case, worst case for Kentucky in the 2025 college football season? Guys, that's going to do all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Before we get out of here, I do want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Guys, FanDuel Sportsbook is here to help you make every moment more. The app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. If you already have an account, FanDuel Sportsbook offers great promotions every day to all users with things such as Profit Boost tokens, new features like Parlay Hub, build your own same-game parlay, or choose from one of the popular SGPs already made for you in the Parlay Hub. If you haven't signed up yet, go to FanDuel.com/SECU to learn more. That's FanDuel.com/SECU and get into the action with offers you won't want to miss. Once again, guys, that's our friends over at FanDuel.com/SECU. You can get that $250 deposit bonus today when you win your first $5 bet. FanDuel.com/SECU to get that $250 deposit bonus today. Guys, once again, appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, where we get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. Till next time, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we will catch you on the other side.